Wake up. What do you mean it's a Sunday? Yeah, you got to wake up on Sunday too. Let's go.
Failing to wake up is not an option. You want to wake up each and every day. One might even say it's the most important act of the day, waking up. Thank you for being here. Hit like and subscribe across both channels. The Krug Show and Damon Bruce Plus. We told you that we'd be coming to you every single morning after the 49ers play. We are men of our words, and we got a lot to get into after a very interesting afternoon of football. You know, like all preseason football games, there's some point in that second half, Larry, where you're just looking for a running clock, right? You want to get out of there. You want to get on with your day. We've seen enough meaningless kind of football. Only a few guys are really on the margins here. What are we watching? What are we doing? This is a waste of time. And then all of a sudden, an actual football game sort of broke out. I'm telling you, context matters, Larry. If that had been a regular season game, it's the win of the year for the team that won it. It's the blown opportunity of the year for the team that lost it. If that game had happened in the postseason, it's one of the top 50 games played in the history of football based on that ending alone. If that had been played in a Super Bowl, it is being tackled right before the goal line, Rams and Titans. It is, Norwood wide right. It is one of the all-time endings in the Super Bowl history. But it's a preseason game, so who really gives a shit? But what a great fun ending for an interesting day of football. And that's the confidence builder that Jake Moody needed. I don't know if we want to start there, but that's exactly what that kicker needed. If confidence is what is going to make or break his career, maybe that's a fork in the road moment for him. I don't know, but he needed.
We got the full Jake Moody experience yesterday. That is the full Jake Moody experience. I mean, that's really it in a nutshell. His whole career was yesterday. I don't get it. What's up with Jake Moody? What's going on? What's the talk? I don't understand it. Go watch that. Go watch yesterday's game, and you have that guy's entire career in a nutshell. Jake Moody owns the record for the longest field goal in Super Bowl history. But he also missed an extra point, and his team lost the Super Bowl in overtime. So, it's like, this is Jake Moody. He has a big leg. No question about it. And he went 5 of 6 yesterday. But do you feel good about it? I don't feel good about it. He missed from 53 yards. He made one from 26 yards that would have been a miss from 30. So he's got a strong leg, but he sprays it, and he misses. He misses every way imaginable. He hooks it. He pushes it. He made 5 of 6, including a 59-yarder. So I guess everybody who wants, to comment on Jake Moody has something they can chew on. If you're here to say Jake Moody's the man, you say he made a 59-yard walk-off field goal and 5 out of 6. Okay. And if you're here to say Jake Moody, oh my God, the sky's falling. He missed a 53-yarder, which is absolutely every kicker in the league is making everything around between 55 and under. I mean, you have to, this is not 1985. This is 2025. And in 2025, guys hit 55-yard field goals like it's nothing. Oh, yeah. And this guy missed from 53 and missed from basically would have missed from 30.
The 50-yard field goal is golf's 370-yard drive. Like, you got to have that in the bag just to be on tour. You got to be hitting like that. So you do need that 50-yarder. I'm going to put Jake Moody in the same realm as Draymond Green. From the point of whatever your opinion about him is, you're probably right. Like, whatever your doubts about Jake Moody are, you're probably right to have those doubts. Whatever your encouragement or positive feelings about Jake Moody are, there's talent enough, like you said, in his leg to back that up a little bit. I don't know where this goes, Larry, but I do know that Jalen Mahoney's interception of Cam Miller last night might be one of the most important football plays that Jake Moody will ever benefit from. Because if this guy is going to be this team's kicker this season, for the foreseeable future, any of that, he needs some confidence. a 44-yarder to tie the game with 37 seconds left, a 59-yarder as time expired. That possession was just gifted and came out of nowhere. I thought if he misses either of those, it would have just been devastating for him. And Greg Joseph is booking a flight back to Santa Clara this week, and the kicker competition is back on, or Moody is in trouble right there. But with those kicks, he remains the 49ers kicker, whether we like it or not. I mean, this is his job. And since it is his job, kick your big field goals, kid. And he did. Is it pretty? Is it smooth? Is it right down the middle? Nope, and nope. But when it mattered most, he did it. And for whatever his career is going to be.
In a preseason game, but when it mattered most, actually, he didn't do it in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl.
I hear you.
I mean, come on.
I hear you.
This didn't matter yesterday. This was just like,
I think it's part of his confidence.
This is just tune-up stuff, right? I mean,
building blocks.
Okay. I just think, it's like, do you have more confidence today in Jake Moody or less? I hope he got something out of that, but it's to me, Damon, it's not about yesterday. I don't put everything on one preseason game. I've been at every fucking practice, and this guy misses from 50 every time. I mean, they'll have a kicking competition. They'll go from 30, make 35, make 40, make 45, make. But when it gets to the last kick, the 50-plus yarder, he's missed that often in camp. So I don't know what to say. They said they were going to have a kicking competition, but that was all crap because the guy who won the competition, according to the kicks, got cut.
Right.
So it was not a competition.
Well,
it was just a coronation. They are trying to this moment to justify their third-round draft choice in this kicker, and it's just going to, they want him to be the guy long-term. We get it. We all get it at this point. But I'll say this. If you had to bet everything that you have to your name that Jake Moody will or won't cost the 49ers a game in 2025, what are you wagering on?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. How about this? I'm laying off that. That's not a bet I want to make. But here's the thing. If they felt that way, get Greg Joseph back in here right now.
No, because they're trying to justify their third-round draft pick because somebody internally is grading all this crap, and somebody internally is probably going to rake them over the coals for taking this guy. And
right?
They're like, no, we're really, really smart. No. And so they're trying desperately to make. I mean, let's be honest about this. Jake Moody is, as a third-round draft choice, is getting significantly more opportunity.
Absolutely.
Than Trey Lance, they traded 3 number 1 picks to have the right to have Trey Lance. He got less of an opportunity than Jake Moody has gotten. Jake Moody has gotten endless opportunities. So I don't know. I'm not rooting against him. I'm rooting for him. I've interviewed him a couple times. I like him. I'll say this. All I can tell you, guys, as a guy who looks somebody face to face in the eye, shakes their hand, talks to them, he's not squirrely. He's not nervous. He doesn't lack for confidence. There's nothing outwardly about his persona that says this ain't the guy, except for the results. The results it's a results-oriented business. Here's the other thing that it kind of rubbed me wrong yesterday. Shanahan's like, I don't talk to kickers. All right, fine. Who cares? That's good. You don't need to waste your time as the head coach talking to kickers. But then he went on to say, and I don't want the other guys talking to kickers, except for Debo, who threatened your kicker in the middle of the game, and then you sided with him.
Well,
so a lot of this is just chit-chat talk.
Debo is gone. Jake Moody was on the team flight last night. So
I hear you, but Shanahan didn't. This disdain that he has for the players talking to the kickers obviously did not apply to Debo a year ago.
Here's what I can tell you. He is your kicker, so you better goddamn well root for him if you're a 49er fan. Yeah. He's not going anywhere. Whether they're trying to make fetch happen or not, it's his job. And since it is his job, you might as well kick big pressure-ish field goals. And I think the 2 field goals to tie the game, to win the game, come with pressure preseason or not. He hit them both. That's good.
You did.
You never give up a third round. You never draft a kicker. You shouldn't draft a kicker in any round. That is the unsigned free agent position of all time. You don't need to draft these guys. That was the first mistake. But look, he might as well make the big kicks. Did you see how happy his team was for him? I mean,
yes.
that meant a little something. That meant something. For a group of guys who aren't even allowed to talk to him, they were very happy to go out and celebrate with him. And
because they know there's so much pressure. They know how much pressure is on him.
I don't think anybody was out there celebrating, yay, we won a preseason game. They were happy for him. They knew that was kind of a fork in the moment road. I got a guy named Mario says, I like how Damon last week says it's preseason. You don't look at the score. You don't care if you win or not. Jake Moody has one job: kick big field goals at the end of the game. At the end of the game, he did his job. That's what we're talking about.
At the end, his job is to make them all the time. The field goal you make in the first quarter is as big as the field goal you make in the fourth quarter.
Sure.
He's got to make the kicks. The alarming kick is not.
5 or 6 is a pretty decent day for any field goal kicker, though.
Yes,
it really is. But 5's not, 6 for 6 isn't guaranteed to anybody.
Right.
5 or 6 is a. I mean, here's the thing.
It's no different, Damon. It's no different than hitting a drive 350, hitting a second drive 350, hitting a third drive 350. Oh, and then hitting a guy in your foursome with your fourth drive because you hit it off the toe and it went backwards. It's like it's that kind of a shank. It's not the 53-yard field goal make or miss that is bothering me. It's the 26-yard field goal that wouldn't have gone in from 30 that every kicker in the world makes continuously, that this guy, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's mental, physical, if it's technique or whatever, but you can't miss in your. I mean, he literally would have missed from 30 yards out.
I think
that matters.
I think you can complain about all actually missed field goals. You can't complain about the field goal that might have been missed but wasn't. Yeah, I mean that's it.
I disagree. I don't totally. It's all about how you're striking the ball.
The free throw that grazes the rim counts as much as the one that's a total swish. It was 3. I mean, look, I hear you. I'm not the biggest Jake Moody fan in the world, but he is an inevitability on this team. So in the meantime, in a preseason moment where all he can do is build confidence, I think he built a little bit of confidence, and we don't need to subtract any from him. So I think that's good. Let's get to what really matters.
You know what? But here's the thing, though. It's not about his confidence anymore. It's about our confidence. Do we have confidence? It's great.
We don't matter.
This is year 3 for him. Come on, man. He should have confidence. If he doesn't have confidence, he's got to build his confidence. But the fact is that he's still not striking the football with consistency. That's all I'm looking for. How's he hitting it? Is he striking it with consistency? But he's not. He pushed one right. He hooked one. He really hooked one left, except it was 26 yards out. It's like, do we really? I care about winning. I don't care about making Shanahan and Lynch look good. I care about winning and winning only. So Greg Joseph, I mean, I just say this about Moody. At some point, there has to be a short leash. I mean, at some point, is it okay if he costs you a game? Is it okay if he costs you 2? Is it okay if he costs you a Super Bowl? I mean, what's okay and what isn't okay? And how long do you go with your kicker who is striking it inconsistently? That's really it. How long?
I think all of your points are valid. 3 words trumpet. He's still here. So there you go. I mean, if this team didn't want him here, Greg Joseph would be. That's the way I see it. It was there will probably be moments to complain. I just thought a guy who needed a good moment had one. That was good coming out of a game where you're just looking for guys, looking for flashes, looking for moments, looking for what good came out of this game. The most important thing that came out of this game, the moment that made everybody hold their breath, was Dominic Pooney disappeared almost as quickly as he appeared in that game. He was out after the 1 series. Dominic Pooney is going to miss a few weeks with the right knee. Possible PCL is what Shanahan is saying. The great news is, though, it wasn't catastrophic. It isn't devastating. We're talking weeks. We're not talking months. I don't think we're talking surgery or anything like that. Dominic Pooney didn't even have an ace bandage, wasn't even icing his knee, sitting on the team's bench, walking on and off, didn't have a crutch, didn't have a push cart. That's good. But, you never want to see a starter hurt in a preseason game. That did happen. Hopefully Pooney's going to be okay. Patrick Taylor Jr., dislocated shoulder. That's going to take weeks. Corey Kiner, high ankle sprain. That's going to take weeks. Again, when a cart comes out, good news never travels by cart, with the exception of Corey Kiner. This is good news for Corey Kiner, because I thought, that's broken ankle. That's a knee. This isn't good. But then he walks to the cart under his own power. That was good. He put weight on his legs. That was good. So, 3 injuries, one of them truly matters, because neither Taylor nor Kiner probably is getting a snap in week 1, healthy or not. But all eyes on Pooney, obviously. All eyes on Pooney.
First of all, I mean, the Pooney thing, yeah, I take major, and this is another one of these ridiculous moments. Why is your most valuable offensive lineman on special teams? You got a million guys sitting around. You don't put Zakel out there. Put one of these other guys out there. You put your most valuable offensive lineman that's in this game in on special teams to let people fall into his legs. I mean, come on. I thought that was also ridiculous. I mean, you have to have Pooney on special teams? Really? Pooney's got to play special teams? There's no back. He's literally your most valuable guard. Your offensive line has Trent Williams. You're babying him. Pooney's easily your best young offensive lineman. And he's out there getting hurt on special teams. Really? As far as Patrick Taylor, Patrick Taylor runs so upright. He just exposes his entire midsection, and the Niner offensive line at the beginning of the game couldn't run block for anything. I mean, he got absolutely destroyed on 3 plays in a row. And to be a running back for the Niners right now is like you're a sacrificial lamb. I mean, they have no ability to protect their backs at all. As far as Corey Kiner is awesome. I mean, Corey Kiner is a tremendous talent. He had an incredible pass blocking grade in the Denver game. He fights and claws for every yard. He can catch the ball to the backfield. He's got tremendous heart. He is their second best running back. I know Guerendo is big, strong, fast, but Guerendo gets hurt, reading the paper.
I thought Jeff Wilson Jr. looked pretty good for a guy we haven't seen in a while. Just steps right back in. He still feels the way that this team plays, and he had moments. That's good, because they will need him at some point here, based on the attrition that they're having at this position.
I don't know if he's even going to make the team. I mean, I'll say this. I mean, he had a bad week of practice. I thought he was falling down. He probably fell down at least 5 times over the course of the practice, over the course of the week, which is odd, because usually you don't, the whole rule of practice for everybody is just nobody go to the ground. Don't go to the ground.
Right.
And so when you see guys fall on the ground, usually that means their legs are shot or they're out of shape. And maybe he's just working his way back into shape. I thought he did have a very hard run. He's got tons of heart, tons of guts, tons of toughness. I mean, Jeff Wilson, is tough. And
there's the guy who's supposed to be the goal line back of a few years ago, right? I mean,
yeah, Corey Kiner. I mean, some people didn't even have Corey Kiner on their final 53. It's like, what? Corey Kiner has done absolutely everything right in camp. While everybody else is falling like flies, this guy showed up every single day. This guy caught the ball. This guy can block. That 19-yard run was the best run I think I've seen by a Niner back in this preseason. That was a terrific run. That was the kind of run that goes, oh, yeah, look at this guy. And then he gets
what it reminded me of, Larry? You know what it reminded me of? Emmitt Smith.
Stop. But you know what? He is a poor man's Emmitt Smith. They're both 5'10", 210. They're both have tremendous heart. His heart is his biggest thing, and that is Emmitt's biggest thing too, heart. And you say, well, how do you know that? Because I've watched this guy in college. I've watched this guy in practice. Corey Kiner has been a huge deal for a long time. nobody knows it, but he was like the best high school football player in the state of Ohio his senior year. He could have gone anywhere he wanted. Everybody wanted him. He went to LSU. He was good for LSU and played for LSU, transferred to Cincinnati so he could be close to his family and friends, and then became one of the all-time leading rushers for Cincinnati and had some of the best after contact numbers of anybody outside of Ashton Genty this last year. So the Niners, once again, are awesome at fun. I mean, this is where you got to really tip your cap to John Lynch, tip your cap to RJ Gillen and Tariq Ahmad and their entire scouting staff, Damon, because the Niners found a starting caliber back, undrafted, in Corey Kiner. He's an absolute keeper. If people don't recognize that, that's on them. This is a hell of a back. This guy's going to get healthy.
I still don't think he makes the 53-man roster. I really don't. Look,
I think you're wrong. First of all, he's not. He doesn't have to make the 53-man roster right now. Now he's hurt. Right. Now he's going to be hurt. So he's not going to make
double or nothing on stakes, right? We have that going on.
Okay, so your stance is that he is not going to be on the roster this year.
I mean, here's the thing. It's not like I'm saying he shouldn't be. I'm just looking at the numbers game and the numbers crunch that he is going to be looking at. And I just think he's got an uphill battle because they're not keeping 6 running backs. And Kyle Juszczyk is among the 5. So it's McCaffrey, Garendo, Juszczyk are the first 3 running backs that are definitely in the running back room. Jordan James is on this team. And I think that they're going to lean into Jeff Wilson Jr. or Keyshawn Vaughn before they lean into Corey Kiner. That's just the way. I just don't see the number crunch coming out, especially now that he's hurt.
Let's wager.
Further impress.
That's awesome. I love that. Now, so basically, it's double or nothing on steak dinner. So now it's 2 steak dinners if
we already have.
Plays on the active roster.
I owed you 1 steak dinner. Right. Now Amy's involved. If he makes the roster, if he doesn't make the roster, we'll split a bologna sandwich.
Okay. But if he's on the roster, it's not because he's hurt. So he may not, he's probably going to be IR or he's probably going to be PUP. He's probably going to be on a list to start. I mean,
the bet is on the roster.
All right. For the year, right? For the year. So there you go. If Corey Kiner's on the Niner roster this year, I win. That's it.
Double ribeye for Larry.
That's awesome.
Whether you give your second steak,
why you keep doing this to yourself. I don't know why you don't. I don't understand why people don't see that. Corey Kiner is better than Jordan James.
I see it. I think he is a good player. I like him very much. I just don't think. Look at it this way.
What
you don't think? You don't think that Chase Lucas is going to be on this team? I think he might be, and I'll tell you, he is. If making plays in a football game is how a player on the edge of a roster makes a roster or not, like Chase Lucas is doing everything he can to make this roster. I'll tell you that Corey Kiner is doing everything he can to make this roster too. But it's just a numbers game. At some point, it's a numbers game. The 49ers are not keeping 6 running backs. Kyle Juszczyk, for the sake of this argument, is a running back. So Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, Isaac Garendo are 1,000% on this team. Jordan James, who they drafted in the 5th round, is on this team. Patrick Taylor Jr., probably not. Keyshawn Vaughn, maybe. Jeff Wilson Jr., a stronger maybe now than ever before. Corey Kiner feels like a lesser than maybe now because of the injury than before. I like him. I just think he might get mathed off the roster.
All right. There you go. Damon has spoken, ladies and gentlemen. Corey Kiner will not be on the Niner roster this year, but Jeff Wilson, according to Damon, will be.
He might be. I'm saying
all right. I think this is very entertaining. I'm enjoying this immensely, and I'm going to enjoy the steak dinner. All right. So what else do you want to get to?
I want to talk about how the very first time in my life, I think I believe in him. I'm excited to see Ricky Pearsall, man. Ricky looked great. Yeah. That opening drive with Brock really couldn't have gone much better. You want him to put it in the end zone, obviously, not settle for the field goal. But what a nice kismet he and Ricky Pearsall had. That's something you see a little bit in practice. We talk more about hearing about it and hoping it. And yesterday is one of the first days you really saw it. There's something there between Pearsall and Brock, and that was really good sign. I thought all three quarterbacks, just a week after we had, Carter Bradley jokes. We had more Carter Bradley jokes than he had completions, right? And he came out and he looked pretty good. I thought Mac Jones, in spite of the interception, looked pretty good. I feel better about the 49ers at quarterback than I have in a while. And it was great to see Ricky Pearsall really look like a good wide receiver. So I thought that was one of the put a star on that positive developments for the 49ers yesterday. Pearsall looked great.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it for over a year that at some juncture, Purdy and Pearsall will do the reps, get the time. There's been all kind of interruptions, right? There was other guys, there was injuries, the guy got shot. There's been all kinds of, otherwise they would have had even better rapport at this point than they clearly do. But they have repped it quite a bit in the offseason. You can see the results of those repetitions, those on-field repetitions. And Ricky, the one thing about Ricky that's impressive is nothing about Ricky is as impressive as Ricky himself. Like when you go talk to Ricky, that's when you're like, oh, now I get it. Because Ricky has got a really, really high standard. Ricky's a very serious young man who's very serious about being good, if not great, at football. So he wins you over. You meet him and you're like, oh, wait a second. Now I get why this guy's gonna work out. Because it's like, as critical as I am, and I'm critical, he's more critical. He's more critical of himself. And when you ask him a critical question, he doesn't run from it. He doesn't shy away from it. He doesn't go, oh, and give you some bullshit answer. He looks you in the eye and owns it. The guy is a very special human being. He really is. And there's no doubt that Purdy Purdy and him eventually are going to be able to make the kinds of plays that Stafford and Puka make, or Stafford and Kupp make, where Stafford knows exactly where Puka's going to be, and Puka knows exactly where he has to be and where his benchmarks are, and when the ball's coming, and when he's got to get his hands turned, and when he's got to get his head turned. And these guys can Puka and Stafford can complete passes in the dark. These guys and Purdy and Pearsall are going to get there. But as you saw in this game, we got the good and the bad of Purdy and Pearsall. The good is, man, Purdy to Pearsall is going to be prolific. In fact, I would say if you're a fantasy guy, you may want Pearsall this year, because I think it's going to be I think he's going to catch a lot of balls. I mean, I bet you he catches 75, 80 balls, if not more.
I think so too. I think the leading receiver on the team is a 2-horse race between him and Kittle. Unless DeMarcus Robinson can get a 3-game suspension and still be freaking spectacular and lead the team with a 3-game suspension. I see somebody in the chat saying, well, Ricky doesn't have breakaway speed. I don't know what Ricky does or doesn't have, but he's going to have an NFL career.
He's got more than enough speed. He's got 4.41 speed. That's plenty fast. He's fast enough. I hear what you're saying. He's not a breakaway guy. He's not a breakaway guy. You guess what? Every receiver can't have every skill. Right. Yes, he can't break away and run the way that Watkins and Cowing can, but they can't run the routes the way that this guy can. He's very refined. Now, Tim Ryan said something that was interesting yesterday in the broadcast. He said, or Shanahan, or maybe it was Shanahan, I forget exactly, but somebody said, hey, look, Ricky's just got to remember that it's not just about beating his man. It's about beating his man at the right time. So he's got to beat his man faster and get to his benchmarks when Brock expects him to be there, because there was that play on the first drive. I mean, to me, the first drive really told you everything you need to know about Purdy and Pearsall. One, they're getting really, really good together, and you saw 3 catches for 42 yards. But then the last one was an incompletion that almost was a pick 6 the other way, and it was really just a communication breakdown where Purdy thought Pearsall was going to be, where Pearsall thought Pearsall was going to be, and it wasn't the same spot. And Purdy threw it short. Pearsall kept moving, and the defender was right there, and it easily could have been a pick 6. So there's more work to be done, but he looks great. And eventually, I think Purdy to Pearsall, like 3rd and 5, I think he's going to be the great continuity piece of this offense. He's going to replace Jennings to some degree in third and Jawan. I think third and Jawan is going to change to third and Pearsall, because I really believe that, he's that dependable in the short area. And I think him and Brock are going to be very, very difficult to stop eventually.
Well, look right here, PMG, Edelman. I don't know, but we always have a desire to, especially at the position of wide receiver, like there's got to be a race similarity in there. And I'm hearkening back to, who didn't have a huge stack of physical attributes that make, GMs and draft nicks drool? Ed McCaffrey. Christian's dad, when he was a football player, Ed McCaffrey was a wide receiver who was not over physically dominant, over physically impressive. He was not a lot of things except one of the best players on the football field at all times. I mean, that's what he was. And eventually it all works. All your attributes and all your practice and all that you bring to the table as a player, it basically amounts, can you or can't you? Ricky can. I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know the perfect attribute that will be the key attribute that he leans on more often than not. He's a football player, man. He's going to get open. He's going to catch balls. He's going to take the ball up the field. Is he Jamar Chase running away from dudes? No. Is he the best hands? Is he Chris Carter? Can't drop anything? No, not yet. But I like him. I used to not think, how about this? I used to think that 3 years from now, when we look back at the Ricky Pearsall draft and we play we're redrafting the first round, where would this player go? I would have assumed that Ricky would have been right around where he was, if not lower. Now I'm seeing how Ricky could be they're going to talk about what a bargain the 49ers might have got when they drafted Ricky Pearsall. And you didn't see it much in his rookie year for a myriad of reasons. Like I said, I think I've seen Ricky Pearsall healthy 3 or 4 days of his career. Those days have been impressive to me.
Well,
one of them was yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing. I mean, don't tell me he's Edelman. Come on. Edelman is like one of the rare tough guys who's ever played. But Edelman's also not as big as this guy, not as fast as this guy. I think Edelman was smaller and slower. So to say he's Edelman, I understand what people are saying, because they're saying, oh, man, he's going to be this awesome tough guy. But Edelman was uniquely tough, man. I mean, I've met Julian Edelman. He's one of the toughest little football guys I've ever met in my life. I think he might be one of the toughest guys, was on one of the toughest guys on the teams that he played. I mean, you wouldn't want to fight Julian Edelman. But, I mean, it's, Puka Nacua is Stafford to Puka, Purdy to Pearsall. I mean, I really think, Puka's a little bit more jacked, but Pearsall's a little bit better route runner. And I think they're very comparable. I think either way, he's going to be good. He's going to be good. What was interesting yesterday is that, the Niners, we got a glimpse. No Ayuk, right? There was no Cowing. There was no Watkins. So you have your speed guys were gone, and you have no Ayuk, and you have no JJ. And still the Niners had Robbie Chosen, Demarcus Robinson, Ricky Pearsall, Russell Gage, Isaiah Hodgins. Damon, I mean, it's not believe me, that's not a receiving group that's going to make you go, oh my freaking God. But at the same time, Hodgins is a solid pro. Gage is a solid pro. Robinson's a solid pro. They added 3, real solid, I wouldn't call them anything more than possession receivers at this point. Maybe Robinson's a little bit more than that, actually, because he's got some downfield ability. But, I mean, he doesn't run well. He's like a 4.6 40 guy. But Gage is reliable, and Hodgins is reliable, and DeMarcus is very reliable. And I'm wondering if at the receiver position, if Brock could get by in the first month, let's just say Watkins wound up missing a month, or Cowing, was out a month, and you didn't have those guys. You don't have those speed, and you don't have Ayuk, and let's just say JJ's for whatever reason still holding out. Even though the wide receiver room, by all accounts, is like, oh my God, what the heck's going on? It's, what they put out there yesterday was, I think, more impressive than the Raider receivers. And I like Jack Betch. I think Jack Betch is
Myers.
He play that I could tell. But like Robbie Chosen's got 4.3 speed. He almost had 100 yards receiving, and he showed a little bit of that speed. And
And he had the worst drop of the day, by the way. Robbie Chosen had a almost walk-it-in touchdown there. It was a beautiful ball thrown by Bradley. It was the nicest ball he's thrown. It was an incomplete pass that Chosen let go off of his hands there. But he did.
I'd look for faster guys. I mean, if I could find one, receiver on the cut down from some other team that I really liked, I wouldn't hesitate to pluck them and put one of these veterans who like Hodgins, Gage, I think, and Chosen all are going to clear waivers. Cowing will not. I don't think Watkins would not. Demarcus Robinson won't. They won't even try it. Robbie Chosen, I'm not sure, but Gage and Hodgins, I think Chosen probably too, but he runs well. But Chosen, Gage, and Hodgins have been out on the street enough times, and enough teams have had enough opportunities to pick those guys up that I think they slide through waivers. So the question I would have for the Niners is if you need an extra receiver at the cut down, go look at one of these teams that maybe is really deep at receiver, see if they cut a good receiver, and see if you can maintain an inventory, because I wouldn't mind seeing, a guy like Isaiah Hodgins, who's a solid NFL receiver, doesn't have great speed.
Right.
But I would love to see a guy like that on my practice squad because, that's like this year's version of Willie Snead. You got to have a veteran that you can plug in.
It's a bigger upgrade than a Danny Gray. Never was, never will be, can't be, just won't be. All he is fast. That's not going to help you. You need someone out there who can go and catch a ball. He can catch a ball. By the way, we got to give full credit here to 49ers Red Zone because if Robbie Chosen makes this roster, we officially have the nickname, Larry. Bobby Choice. Robbie Chosen becomes Bobby Choice. The minute he is on this team, he's ours. We give him a nice nickname like that. Robbie Chosen, now Bobby Choice. I love it.
He was, some people are going to call him Robbie Anderson because that was his original name. There's some people that called Muhammad Ali Cassius Clay. There's some people that called Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Lou Alcindor, forever.
I'll call you whatever you want. I'll call you whatever makes you feel good about you. I'll call you that. No problem at all.
I would say though, where I like their wide receiver reinforcements, not crazy about some of their defensive line reinforcements. And we'll see. We get a lot more to talk about here, but overall, I would say that the receiver position is an interesting position this year for the 49ers because on one hand, Brock Purdy doesn't have his weapons that he had last year, but on another hand, he might be able to do it with these guys as well. Brock, I'll say this, Brock looked really, really sharp. I thought Jones looked really sharp outside of the pick. Bradley threw rockets. He's got a big arm. He's probably going to be cut and then squeezed onto the practice squad. But I feel pretty good about the 49ers at the quarterback position. I mean, Mac Jones had a pick, but completed 81% of his passes. And that's pretty much what we've seen all summer. He is completing, I would say, if you looked charted to every single day of Mac Jones, he's completed over 70% of his passes. I would say 90% of the practices this year. He has been, whatever you think about Mac Jones, love him, hate him, he's a bum, he's this, he's a backup, whatever. For some reason, even though this is a complex offense that other quarterbacks take time to learn, this guy has come in and he is playing on time. He gets the ball out to the right guys at the right time with accuracy. He's had a couple picks, but he's looked pretty decent. I think I feel much better about Mac Jones and his ability than I did coming into this camp.
I do too.
He looks good.
Some guys need to be cast in the right roles. Some actors are the supporting actor, not the lead actor. You can't put his name above the movie title on the marquee. He just is not quite that. And I think that Mac Jones was miscast as the leading man. As a supporting actor, I think he's perfectly cast. I think Mac Jones is an NFL starting quarterback. Good luck with that. As a backup quarterback, you have one of the best backup quarterbacks in football. You know what I'm saying? I think he's an outstanding.
I agree. I mean, I think I mean, the one thing about Mac, and we didn't really know what kind of worker he was, but we don't. Anytime you don't know much about a player, you don't know much about their ethic. Is he? Some people work really hard to get where they're at, and some people, hey, they don't work at all, and they just have God given ability, and to me, it's like it's pretty obvious that this guy has immersed himself in the Niner offense. He doesn't seem overwhelmed by it, but it's a high volume playbook. It's very multiple offense. Heck, Matt Ryan didn't look great the first year, and the second year he won the MVP. So, we've seen other quarterbacks take a year or so to get used to this offense, but Mac looks comfortable, and the ball's coming out. He's got a good personality as far as he's fit in really well. I think they got a good thing going. I really do. I mean, I think Mac's going to benefit from Shanahan, but like Darnold said, I think Mac's going to benefit from Purdy and just being able to see that preparation. The thing I like the most about Mac Jones is that he, on the short stuff, and the Niners play a lot of short game, screens, hitches, and you got to have your footwork down. And it's not perfect, but it's definitely way better footwork than I remember him having at Bama or with the Patriots. And he's getting the ball out and he's putting it on people's hands. So the book on him, Damon, was he can process, he plays on time, and he's accurate. And man,
that was the argument we were making.
What we're seeing.
That was the argument that we were making in the draft. Right. The reason why it had to be Mac Jones and not Trey Lance is because Mac Jones had attributes that Kyle Shanahan wants in his quarterback more than physical attributes. Kyle sort of talked himself out of what he really wanted in a quarterback. I think Kyle got just as lost in the sauce of dreaming of your own Patrick Mahomes as everyone did. And that's why he took his eye off the prize of what matters most to him at quarterback. And that's why it was Trey Lance over Mac Jones. But Mac Jones is delivering on the things that Kyle does value. And like you said, it's been a smooth transition for him here. And Mac Jones has fit in better here than in Jacksonville, in New England. And it's working. It's working.
I mean, sometimes the most athletic quarterback isn't the best quarterback. I mean,
absolutely.
If you asked every GM in the league right now, you can have Caleb or you can have Drake May. Which would you prefer? I think probably 2/3 of them would take Drake May.
How about this? Joe Montana doesn't crack the top 50 athletic quarterbacks in NFL history, not even close.
Well, I mean, who's more athletic, Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels? I think it's probably Caleb Williams. And yet Jaden Daniels everybody would take Jaden Daniels over Caleb Williams at this point, even though Bears just took Caleb number 1. So, athleticism is one thing, traits, but you got to be able to play the position and, We'll see. And I'm a believer in Trey Lance. So I actually believe Trey Lance is going to get off the canvas and make something of himself. And I've maintained that the entire time. So I'm a believer. I'm really happy for Trey. We get to see him this week. I'm really happy for Trey. I think he's obviously not going to play in front of Herbert, but he's also obviously in a really good team with a really good coach. And if Herbert goes down, he might be able to have some major success with the Chargers because the Chargers are going to run the heck out of the ball and lean on their D and special teams. So,
by the way, if
we'll see.
Levi's Stadium doesn't erupt into a 10-year show cause with Harbaugh coming into town, you're all soft-ass football fans. That everywhere Jim Harbaugh goes for the rest of his life, the 10-year show cause chant should follow him. That fucking
I have no idea what you're even talking about.
What?
You talking about the college suspension?
Oh,
that's
dude,
that's not even going to take effect until he goes back to college.
Well, he's never going to go back to college, but that's
right.
the thing.
So it's never going to take effect.
No, but that's the thing. So he has escaped actual punishment. He should be ridiculed. That's all that's left for Jim Harbaugh.
Why wasn't he forced to vacate?
Because the NCAA is now a toothless, feckless, powerless governing body, and you have TV networks and 2 conference commissioners running all of college football. But that's another show. Larry, I want to talk about Nick Martin. Nick Martin was a guy that everybody enjoyed kind of kicking around last week. And Nick probably played a little too fast, a little bit too over his own skis. And I kept on saying, look, man, he might not be making that tackle, but he's in the frame. Exactly. He is putting his helmet into the frame. That's
on the other side, on the opposite side of the field, on plays away from him. You know what I mean? It's not just that he's in the picture. He was making plays on the other side of the field, but not making them, and then having people go, he missed a tackle. He missed a tackle on the opposite side.
He ran 40 yards to get there. He ran 40 yards to miss that tackle.
I mean, what a sideline to sideline, man.
What a big improvement from week 1 to week 2 for Nick Martin. I thought that's maybe the best, easiest to see step forward of progress from a young player 1 week to the next. You know, we haven't had 2 weeks of Mikael Williams or CJ West. By the way, Alfred Collins is not really popping right now. He's not built to pop. He's built to occupy.
I like what I see from Alfred Collins. And it's funny you said that, because he's not going to, if you're looking for him to sack the quarterback, he's not going to do it. But what I like from Alfred Collins is, if you go back and watch, he has done an amazing job at trying to everything in his power to affect the quarterback. Now, obviously, he's trying to sack him. He's not sacking him. But when he's not going to sack him, Damon, if you watch this guy's doing a very veteran thing. He is doing an amazing job at getting his big, gigantic frame between the quarterback and the receiver, and he's putting his hands up. And it's like, it sounds like it doesn't matter, like hands up on defense, but hands up on defense in basketball is way better than hands down, and hands up at defensive tackle is way better than hands down. If you have your hands up, it's really hard to throw over that. And he's doing that. So he made the Raider quarterbacks yesterday make a couple of throws over the top of him. And I just want to say, Alfred, if you're watching, I'm watching, brother. I'm watching. And that was a big time play. That's big time defensive tackle play.
I don't think he's built to pop. He's built to occupy. He occupies space and blocks, and then people play well around him. Again,
he's Jonathan Hankins. He's any two-gapper that you can think of. Who's the two-gapper for the Eagles? Who's that gigantic? They had Jordan Davis, right? He's kind of like a Jordan Davis. He's not going to sack the quarterback very much. But he's going to occupy, and he's going to keep bodies off of Nick Martin, Fred Warner. And I actually think Collins I'll say this. I think Collins is going to start week 1 against Seattle.
I do too.
I don't think, CJ West has got the hyperextended knee now. So maybe we'll see about how he recovers. I think, who knows on that. He would start also, I think, but Collins, I think, is going to start. I think he's going to be really solid for them. I know there'll be a lot of people they'll be like 6 weeks in and be like, he has 4 tackles and he has no sacks, and but he's always going to be a guy that the people who want to argue stats will always be able to rip.
Right. And look, there is definitely a race in media to be the first to the podium with the official, this is what this guy's career is going to be. And after 4 quarters, everyone, we had a lot of people racing to the podium with, it ain't going to be Nick Martin. Nick Martin might be talented, but he's too fast. He's too undisciplined, blah, 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 blah. Look at 1 week of improvement. He went from way over his skis to skiing pretty well downhill in just 1 week. I can't wait to see what Nick Martin is in week 10. I mean, by the way, that needs to probably be applied to this entire team. The team that we get early in this season out of the San Francisco 49ers is going to be different than the team that is playing in week 10. Now, that could go in 2 different directions. They're going to get more hurt, disintegrate, and it's going to be a pile of shit again. That would be terrible. But I really think that if everything that you wanted out of this team, if it ain't popping in the first 4 weeks of football, don't give up. Like, a little patience, not that this is anybody's strong suit, is going to have to be applied to this team. They are going to get better as the season goes along and more dangerous as the season goes along. I really believe that. And let me tell you about the other guy I wanted to talk about here, Larry. If this is what Robert Saleh is showing us in the preseason in terms of blitz and stunts and aggressive just aggressive preseason defensive line play. If this is what he's showing us in the preseason, what is he cooking up for the real NFL season? I'm so excited to see what Robert Saleh does to maximize what he has defensively. And I think he can do this with technique, with defensive gadget plays that he is sitting on right now. We've seen more aggressive blitzing in 2 preseason games than we did all last year without Robert Saleh, it feels like.
Which, is probably, I don't know if it's a good thing because, the best defenses get it done with their front four. You blitz if you have to blitz. You blitz if your front four can't get it done. The fact that we're seeing him get super creative in the preseason is not a good thing. I don't think. I think it's a bad thing. It means that he's absolutely desperate to create any kind of a rush in game situations and is busting out the full,
you gotta
bag.
play with what you got. You got to play with what you got. I'd rather somebody say, I don't have enough beef up front, I got to get exotic, than I don't have enough beef up front and I'm not going to get exotic. Like,
right. I hear you, but we're talking about 2 different things. We're talking about, the ability to dial up blitzes and exotics and that kind of thing. And then you're talking about the need to do it. So we're talking about 2 different things. Right. I'm just saying that you're saying it's a positive that it's happening. I'm saying I knew that Robert Saleh could call a defensive game. We've seen it. We've seen him here before. He took this team to the Super Bowl. He helped build that defense, and he's all gas, no breaks. And I feel much better about Robert Saleh in that spot and with Gus Bradley there as well than I did with Nick Sorensen, who had never been a defensive coordinator in the NFL and did not appear to have the answers, nor did he seem to have the ability to even recognize who the best players on his defense were. It's like, I really felt, is there anybody that felt like Devondre Campbell was better than D Winters? But Nick Sorensen thought so. And Nick Sorensen, 2 weeks before they cut, the veteran, they basically came back and was like, hey, he's a strong veteran leader in our locker room. Really? He went AWOL and quit on the team, like literally 2 weeks later. And he had been standing at his locker complaining loudly and swearing for like 3 weeks. So, sometimes I do think it's a major upgrade getting Saleh, but it does worry me that he's having to, go to these exotics and
he's going
to slot blitzes and that kind of thing just to try to speed up the quarterback on some key downs. I'm glad he can do it, but it's really disappointing that it seems like he's going to have to do it.
Well, here's the thing. If this is the only pressure that he can get on a quarterback when Fred Warner's out there and Nick Bosa's out there and their defensive line is healthy and we see the first round pick on the other side and it's not just Bryce Huff all by himself,
who look great,
I'll join you in some of that concern. In the meantime, I think it is a coach's job to create as much havoc with the cards that I'm here playing today. He didn't get his full card. He couldn't go back to the boneyard for all the dominoes he wanted. This is what you're playing with, Robert. Play with it. And I like the fact that he is without much, like you said, concrete one-on-one, beat the man in front of you talent out there. Still putting a little pressure out there. I'm excited for Robert Saleh. And again, what's he cooking up for when this gets real? And what does this look like when the players running those blitz packages are Nick Bosa? That's what I'm excited for.
Here's what you saw yesterday. Non-D lineman Nick Martin got a sack. Non-D lineman Chase Lucas got a sack. That was half their sacks. Half their sacks were non-D linemen. I do think that Nick Martin is going to be a major factor, like a Bobby Wagner last year. He's going to fire gaps. He's going to be a delayed blitzer because he's so freaking fast that you can play him as a stack backer, sit him out there and 3 yards off the ball, let him read the play. And when it's time to go. And he can close that space so fast that he doesn't even have to start off rushing and he can impact the quarterback. I thought his hit on the quarterback was awesome. It was kind of a stunt where he came looping around. I also thought, kind of quietly, I really liked, and I mentioned it in a video earlier this week, I really like Trevis Gibson. Trevis Gibson was good at Tulsa, and he had a good year for the Bears a few years ago. He had 7.5 sacks in a season for the Bears, like not that long ago. He's not old. He's not beat up. He's got some good strength and versatility. I like Travis Gibson, and I think there's a very good chance he makes the team.
So Chase Lucas, fan favorite Chase Lucas, Larry. Look, it's going to be a tough roster to crack. It's never easy to make a roster, but man, if this guy doesn't find himself right in the middle of a should he be on this team conversation, I mean, he's got to be closer to the roster now than he was before they actually started playing these preseason games, because the only way that unheralded guys make teams is to make plays. And this guy's making plays. He's made like the 3 or 4 most impactful defensive plays over the course of 2 preseason games than anybody on this roster. Chase Lucas is playing really well. I'm rooting for him. I hope he makes the team. He's a shit talker. He's yelling at fans as he's walking off the field, Larry, like, you want that? Yelling at the 6 Raiders fans who were actually at that game yesterday. By the way, how many Niners fans were there? What was the Niner to Raider fan ratio at Allegiant Stadium yesterday?
I didn't get a lot of shots of the stands. I didn't for some reason I didn't see too many of the stands. Maybe it was just because it was preseason. The film work on that broadcast, by the way, oh my God. I mean, there was a couple passes that the pass was thrown.
Didn't see where it went.
And it's like, what are we doing here, guys? I mean, it was like, I've seen high school games with better broadcasts than that.
Preseason for everyone, Larry, including the cameraman.
That was bad, dude. Show us the whole game. But back to Chase Lucas, man, he's really, I mean, I know this is going to sound crazy. He's one of the most popular guys on the team. He's guys love him. He talks tons. He's volatile. He's energetic. And kind of his personality matches his play. But now let's talk about the roster. Okay, so you're probably going to get 5 to 6 corners. Okay, let's say Green, Lenore, Upton, Stout are your top 3. Okay, those are your
without
top
a doubt.
3. Then you got Dallas Flowers
on the team.
Make it. He's 4. Then, believe it or not, Jacob Robinson, I think, absolutely belongs. He played great yesterday, and he's got 4.3 speed. I mean, I'll say this. Jacob Robinson absolutely, as sure as I'm sitting here, will not clear waivers. He has had a really good camp. They've had multiple joint practices. Enough people have seen it. So Jacob Robinson, I think, is going to make this team. So and then Trey Brown's guaranteed $500,000. So he's got a good shot to make the team. And Saron Neal is guaranteed $2.25 million. So he's got a great shot to make the team. So I know what people are saying, but I'll make the prediction right now. The most number of people will be negatively reacting on the 26th to Chase Lucas being cut because of how he's played in the preseason. And people will use that as, what are they doing? What are they doing? But Chase Lucas probably will clear waivers, even despite the preseason he's had. And so I think Chase Lucas is likely to be cut, clear waivers, wind up on the practice squad. But like right now, he ain't making it over Renardo, and he's not going to make it over Stout, obviously. And he's obviously not making it over Lenore. And Flowers came with Gus Bradley and is looking really, really good. Yep. So he's absolutely on the team. That's 4. So
I think you might
2 spots. And those 2 spots are between Trey Brown, Darrell Luter, Chase Lucas, Jacob Robinson, and Saron Neal. And guess what? Saron Neal is getting one of those spots. I guarantee you. So that right there, and Robinson, I think, really deserves one of those spots. So I kind of think that Trey Brown and Chase Lucas and maybe even Darrell Luter might be on the outside looking in at corner.
I think he is. You might be right, Larry. Again, you're using the number crunch the same way I'm about Corey Kiner. And when you start getting into that, when you start talking about, all right, this many spots, this many people, Someone always loses in a game of musical chairs. You may be right, but I think he's played himself above Luter Jr., who is it's a now or never
but they're
year
both,
for
but they
Luter.
both could be out.
And they're both, you're right about that, but I think he's in front of him.
Yeah.
Okay. The whole hey, the Niners already spent the money on the player. I don't give a shit anymore. If you think this other guy's better and if he's got better film and if he's made bigger plays, keep the guy who's playing better football than the guy you mistakenly gave too much money to up front. We talked about this last year. How many times did the Niners keep the guy they spent the money on and cut the guy you would have rather had, right? Hopefully they don't do that again.
Look, but I mean, here's the thing about this. It's a new world order with the Niners.
And you're right.
But they have a brand new special teams coordinator, and there's no chance in hell that the Niners signed Saron Neal unless Boyer was like, that's my guy, I want him. And so he's probably going to get him. I agree with you, Damon. Hey, if we lived and died by this money rule, we'd have Nate Sudfeld and not Brock Purdy. So guess what? We don't, sometimes you got to say, screw the money. We're going with the player. So I totally get you. But here's the question. You're typically going to take 10 DBs, right? 10 DBs. Some teams have 5 safeties, 5 corners. Some teams have 4 safeties, 6 corners. Generally, that's the way it goes. Usually you go with a few more corners. So at safety, you've got Jair. Now, Lombardi thinks Jair might be traded at the cut down, which would change the numbers. But Jair Brown, Jason Pinnock, I think those are probably your week 1 starters at safety. You still have Mustafa coming back, but he's not going to be on the active roster to start the year. But then you have Siegel, who's absolutely made the team. He looks fantastic.
Really impressive.
Yeah,
really impressive.
Oh, he's fantastic. He might start. So, I mean, you have Jair Brown, Pinnock, Siegel right now, okay? Those 3. Then you have Mustafa coming. So you got kind of a 4th guy in the wings, but not right away. You then signed Richie Grant, who's a veteran, who's looked good in this camp. Jalen Mahoney had an interception yesterday. Derek Canteen, number 40, has played really, really well. I think he had 5 or 6 tackles yesterday. He also has versatility. He can play safety or corner. And then you also have Saron Neal, who some depth charts, Damon, have him at safety. So
can we be honest, Larry? This
they're gonna have to decide who they want to pick, and it's very. I would say it's very. They're gonna be very tough selections in the secondary.
We thought that with all the draft picks that they selected and Kasurik, that this defense would be easier to see how it's going to shake out on the defensive line than it is in the secondary. But there are so many good camp performances in this secondary that's where the toughest choices might be in the entire cut down process. And the handful of players that we were just discussing.
I'll give you another spot, linebacker, because you saw yesterday Curtis Robinson made a terrific tackle on special teams, and he is a terrific special teamer. And this team is trying. I mean, I told you a month ago, the vibe around the Niners is we are tired of being horseshit on special teams, and we are going to commit to not being that.
Good.
So you have linebacker. Do you keep 5? Do you keep 6? Winters, who, by the way, I thought Nick Martin looked better than Winters yesterday. Winters made a tackle, but he also missed a tackle. I think Nick Martin's better than Winters. I'll die on that hill. But either way, they're both on the team. Winters, Warner, Martin, Gifford. Gifford was signed another guy as a free agent, special teamer. Do you keep him? You probably do because you signed him. So there's 4. So now everybody else is battling for either 1 spot or 2 spots. Tatum Bethune has to be on the football team.
Chaz Surratt's been pretty good too.
Tatum Bethune, though, is if he's cut, I mean, what are we doing here, guys? I mean, that guy's thumping people. You have to keep Tatum Bethune.
I think so.
Then you got Chaz Surratt, you got Stone Blanton, you got Jalen Graham, you got Curtis Robinson. You got a bunch of numbers there, and
Stone Blanton's gone.
They may not be battling. I mean, you're only keeping maybe 5. So Winters, Warner, Martin, Gifford, and you can have 1 more. So I think Bethune probably gets that spot, but then Curtis Robinson gets cut and goes to the practice squad. Chaz Surratt probably gets cut, goes to the practice squad. Maybe Blanton, maybe Graham, maybe they get picked. One of those guys gets claimed. So that would be my guess. My guess is I hope they go 6 linebackers. Winters, Warner, Martin, Gifford, Bethune, and then take your pick. Who would you want out of Curtis Robinson, special teams ace, Stone Blanton, rookie, Chaz Surratt, athletic developmental guy, and Jalen Graham, who, was 7th-round pick a couple years ago. A lot of people like him.
I got to cut the guy from Purdue just based on principle, Larry. You know me.
But I mean, you got to, if you could keep one out of Robinson, Surratt, Blanton, and Graham, who are you keeping? Because you may have to cut them all.
I mean, Robinson feels like the right answer there, doesn't he?
Well, it does. I guess he's coming back from the ACL. I mean, that was a great special teams play he made the other day.
But I like Bethune. I really do.
Bethune's got to make it over him. But I'm just saying, out of Robinson, Blanton, Surratt, and Graham, if you could have one, I probably would go with Surratt, and then waive Robinson, Blanton, and Graham, and see if I could get a couple of them on the practice squad.
And again, Surratt was a Jet with Saleh. Maybe the tie goes to the runner right there, right?
Yeah. Here's the other wild card factor, and this has to be a factor. In the past, the Niners have had a real simple type thing. All they had to do was worry about their own roster, and everything else would kind of take care of itself. But now, as there's half dozen teams around football that are deeper than them. Now that they're paying their quarterback, and it's hard to, it's just hard to have the kind of talent that they used to have. They're going to have to be keenly aware of who's cut around the league, and is there a guy out there that is better than the guys that they have? Because that could happen. Absolutely could happen. And I would say at least leave one or two kind of possibility roster spots for guys cut on other teams that the Niners, Niners may have had a super high grade on somebody. Or they may want to take a look at they cut Isaiah Nair, right? Because he really didn't have much special teams upside, because they're looking at the back end of their receiving group to be a special teamer. But I'll tell you this, I don't know how you feel about it, but I do not feel like Junior Bergen is a lock to make this team.
No, I don't. Here's the thing. He had that one really nice return against the Broncos. Haven't seen him since. And that guy's going to have to be Devin Hester to be, hi, I'm just a returner on the 49ers. I really fill no other role. Can't be counted on as an offensive piece, but I return. Again, you better be special, very special on special teams. I don't know if he's that. I don't think he is. I mean, that nice return that you're talking about, it was a great move to make the first guy miss. But then it was the entire sideline was wide open. Hey, but I
don't think he's good as a kick returner. As a punt returner, I think he's really good. As a kick returner, he doesn't. I think you need like a Garendo, somebody who's like big and fast and doesn't mind getting absolutely popped. Because I think the best way to do the kickoffs is full speed, take it up the field, and there's a big collision potentially waiting for you. So I just don't think the receiver, the light receiver is the guy I'd want to go with. I think I'd want to go with, kind of a tough, thick running back with some speed.
I mean, here's the thing. I agree with you. I don't know if I have Isaac Garendo labeled as the word tough yet. He seems to be hurt every 3 days. But what 49er isn't hurt every 3 days?
I'd rather go with Juszczyk and have him go full bore sprint up the field than go with Bergen on kickoff returns. On the punt returns, I love Bergen's ability to maybe have a little vision and that kind of thing. But on the kickoffs, give me a non-fumbler.
Yesterday, they had Tongas playing fullback. I thought that Luke Farrell would be asked to play fullback, but they had Tongas do it. Is he on this team? I think he's got to be, because they let Dwelly go on Friday, I believe. So they've got their 3 tight ends.
Well, I don't know. No, I mean, this is up in the air. Okay. One, I told you guys last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever Dwelly showed up, that Dwelly doesn't look anything like Dwelly even from 2 years ago. Dwelly's thickened. He's slowed down. He doesn't look the same physically. Okay. That's what I'm seeing, but he does know, he is a veteran, dependable special teamer. So I know they just waived him, but they know what he is, right? They know what he is. And I would not be shocked if the Niners in the final cut down went with Kittle and Farrell. And I think yesterday Tongas pushed ahead of Willis because I think Tongas, now playing a little fullback. I think Willis can play a little fullback, but I think Tongas kind of showed that he can be that versatile weapon. But I think there's a chance, Damon, they go with two, cut both Tongas and Willis. Maybe those guys get picked up off waivers. If they do, I think they re-sign Dwelly to the practice squad. If they don't, I think they probably re-sign Tongas to the practice squad. But my guess is they're going to, as we've been talking about today, because you may need to keep Corey Kiner. You got to ask yourself who's more likely. They're going to try to retain as much of their talent as possible, their inventory as possible. You may have to go with an extra back. You may have to go with an extra DB. You may have to go with an extra D lineman. Well, if you do that, where are you getting the extra roster spots? You're getting them from, we'll only keep two quarterbacks and we'll cut Carter Bradley, and we'll only keep two tight ends on the active roster to start, and we'll keep Dwelly on the practice squad. So even though Dwelly was cut, I do think there is a chance that they go with two tight ends, try to squeeze those other guys through waivers. If they don't get through, I could see Dwelly being back on the practice squad.
Krug, let's ask everyone to like and subscribe across both channels, if you will, please. Thank you so much for being here. We're coming to you every day, the morning after the 49ers play. You're going to get a wake up no matter when the Niners play. Larry and I, 9:05 West Coast, the very next morning. Hopefully you plan on being here. It's great to have you here. Like and subscribe, please, across both channels. We're going to wrap up, I think, Larry, here with offensive line conversation. Then we're going to the supers. Coming back to Dominic Pooney, this is the entire week is Pooney watch. How is he doing? How is he progressing? Hopefully there's no more time tacked on to any injury concerns, and he is out there week 1 against Seattle. But in the meantime, does his absence and injury concerns over Ben Barch open up the door for Drew Moss? I think Connor Colby could start maybe at guard for this team, but Drew Moss is a guy who I think now has got a real opportunity in front of him to maybe make this roster. Isaiah Prince is not exactly the swing tackle that I feel great about. I thought he got pushed around, was a little suspect yesterday. What do you think of what was going on in the number crunch in this offensive line?
Well, you saw people were asking, hey, why is Zakel, playing center, and they moved Nugent, who is a center, to guard and this and that. Okay, well, it's a numbers game, right? And once again, I mean, how many backup offensive linemen are you going to have? Some teams go with 8 total offensive linemen, 5 starters, 3 backups. Other teams go with 9 offensive linemen, 5 starters, 4 backups. Let's just say, for the sake of it, the Niners go with 9. Okay. Well, we know the starters, right? Trent, Barch, Brendel, Pooney, McKivitz, if everybody's healthy. So those are the 5 starters. So then who are your 3 backups? I would say it's probably, Connor Colby and one of the tackles, either Burford or Pleasance or Prince, and one other guy. And that last guy is going to have to be somebody who plays multiple positions. So I think it's really good. I think deep down, the Niners know they don't want to cut Nick Zakel, because Nick Zakel is a big, tough, smart guy, and he's also Brock Purdy's best friend.
You play multiple positions.
You can play multiple. Well, I mean, that's why he's playing backup center, so he can show that, because the last guy on the depth chart has to play everywhere. So Zakel is that guy, but he also got bull rushed terribly into the lap of Mac Jones, and he struggles at times. I think I would go, if it was me, I'd probably go with Williams, Barch, Brendel, Pooney, McKivitz, and then I'd probably go.
Well, let me just ask: wouldn't you want to play Burford instead of Barch? Like, if Burford is your backup tackle, I still think he is among your best guards. I'm surprised that Burford is.
Well, they don't feel that way. Obviously, they must not feel that way, right? I mean, otherwise they would have. He hasn't played at all at guard,
right
at all. He's playing tackle.
I think they know that they need him at tackle, and they're trying to make something happen that might even not really be there, but they don't have a choice. I mean, they're in a numbers game here. So
I think Burford. It's funny. I did my 53-man roster, and I had Burford and Yatir Gross-Matos traded, because I think they're probably in that category of they're just a little bit better than being cut, but just interested enough. Other teams, there's enough thinness of rosters at O-line and D-line that somebody may give you a conditional 7th for Gross-Matos. Somebody may give you a conditional 7th for a Burford, because Burford is in a lot of ways the prototype physically of what you're looking for. He's got long arms. He's got a great body. He's healthy. He's young. He's cheap. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's a lot of, and before people go, what are you talking about, Krug? Jalen Moore just got paid $30 million in free agency. He didn't start for the Niners. He was their third tackle. He was their backup, and the Chiefs paid him $30 million. So there's a lot of money.
He played really well when he stepped in for Trent. He did. That's how he got paid.
He did. He showed that he could play tackle or guard, and there's a dearth of good linemen, and he got broken off. And so will Burford at some point if he can just kind of get a little momentum going. But that, I think it's gonna be really interesting. You got Matt Hennessy, who's a very solid NFL backup. I would say on paper Hennessy has got the interior job locked up, but maybe not. If they're trying Zakelj there, they might try to squeeze Zakelj into Hennessy's spot since Brendel's the starter. Colby's played really well. I think he's the starter at left guard for Ben Barch. Barch has never played more than 5 or 6 games without getting hurt. Colby had 50 career starts. He looks really good. Firster was comparing him to Dom Pooney when I talked to him a couple weeks ago. That means he's on the team for sure. I mean, Dom Pooney was a terrific find for them, and to have him compare him to Pooney shows that he obviously holds him in high regard. And then Moss has been highly graded. Prince had 3 false starts, which is awful. I haven't studied Pleasance and Burford in this game to see how they stood up, but I think that third tackle spot is, Burford, Pleasance, or Prince, or somebody off the street. I think Moss, Hennessy, Nugent, Zakelj, probably all battling for one spot. And then I think Connor Colby ought to start. I think I would start Connor Colby at left guard.
I thought yesterday the offensive line, not cloaked in glory. Very nice job pass protection for most of the afternoon. That run blocking is still an issue, man. I mean,
the Niners averaged 2 yards a carry in the first half of the game.
Yeah, and that was, I think there was a 5 carry minus 6 yard start to the day for Patrick Taylor Jr. That just didn't go very well.
Some of that's on him though, because he was very indecisive. He runs upright. There was a hole on one of those runs that he got smoked. If he had hit the hole hard, it was there. He didn't. He paused. He hesitated, and then he got smoked. So I mean, a lot of it's these holes open for a very small amount of time, and you got to scoot through or not. But yeah, I agree with you. The run blocking up front wasn't good enough.
That should be the number one priority all week long, getting ready for the Chargers, who are coming in on Saturday. What is that, a 5:30 game? I think it's a kickoff at Levi's for the 10-year show cause Harbaugh Chargers, and Trey Lance walking back into the Trey area. Should be a little interesting, a little something else to put on the final preseason thought of the year. And Larry, before we go to the Supers, let me just wrap up with this. A very long off season is almost over. We are 21 days away from 49ers football. 3 weeks is all we got between now and game day. That's fun. That's exciting. I can't wait to have it back. I feel more like myself during football season than I do in the summer. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, if you think about it, it's really kind of a weird number. They have one more preseason game to go, but it's still 3 weeks until week 1. So it just kind of shows that, that they've added that an extra week in there. It's funny. I heard Kittle talking about it. The Niners, I mean, it's bizarre. It's like, what do you do with yourself between the last preseason game and the first game? It's like, you got to get better in that window. That's a lot of time, man. It's like a Super Bowl or something.
That's when you start a season install. That's when you start looking at, not just Seattle week 1, but now you're looking at your schedule through week 5. You do your advanced scouting. There's never a lack of preparation to get ready for a football season that an extra week isn't good for. So they'll figure it out. And it also is going to give guys that chance. Let me tell you, if Dominic Pooney is about to miss a couple of weeks, I'm glad that there are 3 weeks between now and the start of the season. So you're right. Feels a little weird, but as injury riddled as the Niners are early in the year, that extra bye week kicked in big. Can you have a bye week before you start? Let's just call it the first bye.
Well, it is. I don't know exactly why they're doing it, but I'll say this. I mean, is there a team that needs it more than the 49ers? Because the only injury, it's a weird year because Givens is out with some kind of a pec injury for a good chunk of the season, right? They're saying maybe a month or so of the season. The rest of these injuries are like, he'll be back in 10 days. He'll be back in 2 weeks. He'll be good in about 2.5 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, they have a lot of injuries, but it's not like, like one thing is kind of scary. The Niners have right now, I looked this up just now. The 49ers have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 49ers already have 7 guys on season-ending IR. Now, only 2 can be designated to return off IR. You can put as many guys as you want, I believe, on IR. Only 2 can be designated to return. Right now on the IR, I don't think there's anybody that necessarily will be returning.
You're not using that designation, not yet.
I don't think any of these guys they'll use it on them. Teron Jackson, Trey Tomlinson, Trent Taylor, Amir Abdullah, Andre Dillard, Equanimous St. Brown, Bradley Anae. I mean, maybe Bradley Anae would be a guy that they possibly, if they had to have pass rush and they really, he was there, he was healthy, maybe. But I would say none of those 7 guys are the type of player that they would call off injured reserve. Now, when the season starts and they have to pair the roster to 53, do they put anybody of note on IR? Maybe like a Jordan Watkins and a Garendo, a Malik Mustafa, Givens, Gross Matos. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I know, Jordan James, Garendo. It'll be interesting to see Ayuk, what lists everybody goes on, because there'll be some guys.
Final thought before we get to supers. Did you see Brandon Ayuk running around in underpants before the game even started? He looked frisky. Brandon Ayuk looked good, running nice routes, just out there running around, cutting on tight corners and angles and dimes. And it was the first time we've seen Brandon Ayuk like physically doing something on a football field. He was just out there warming up, running around, and he looked good. So, the getting closer, the getting closer proclamations that we keep on hearing, I believe them for the first time. This guy does look like someone who may be back in week 6 as opposed to week 12. So that, I think, is maybe the right, all you're looking for in preseason is some optimism. And so Brandon Ayuk running around, testing that knee, looking good, feeling good, smiling, catching footballs. There's your little optimism to end today's show with. Larry, let's hop into these supers, please. I know for a fact Jillian's going to come down and stare at me through this glass sliding door like this in about 10 minutes. So we got to go.
All right. Is Stone Blanton hurt?
No, he played yesterday, I think.
I don't think so. I don't think he's hurt. James Foster, Jake Elliott was 1 for 7 on field goals, 50 plus in 2024, and the Eagles won the Super Bowl. There's usually 2 to 3 top kickers, and everyone else is about the same. All right, that's one approach. That's a little defeatist mentality, but You know what? Duly noted. Clarence
That really
Beeks, look.
that really isn't cheerleading as much as it is the shrug emoji, but you might be right.
Our guy's not that bad. Look at the rest of the guys. Clarence Beeks, look at our guys up and Adam, never lazy.
Oh, this is us. Yes. Wake up. Good to be here. Thank you for watching. Again,
it would have been easy to stay in bed.
West Coast, we're all having a little coffee, getting ready for a little breakfast, maybe. East Coast, thank you for joining us for brunch. It really is great to have you.
MSG or MSQ said, did Edelman return from a gunshot? Pearsall's him.
We hope you're right. What Ricky went through from a physical standpoint is very impressive last year. From a mental standpoint, I don't think we even talk about it enough. I mean, can you imagine how just yippee you have to feel in your life after being shot randomly?
And you know what? I mean, this is a very interesting guy. I've talked to him about it. I mean, and doesn't shy away from it. I mean, he thinks about that incident in Union Square in downtown San Francisco a lot.
How could you not?
A lot.
How could you
lot.
not?
Yeah. But as far as, before you start, there's a difference between being shot and getting smoked by safeties and getting up. Edelman proved his durability. Pearsall, it's on you now to prove your durability. The gunshot thing is a terrible story, and it's obviously a footnote to his career, but that's not the toughness we're talking about. We're talking about, can you stay on the field for 17 games like Julian Edelman did for year after year after year? That's really the question. Jake Moody, Carroll tried to ice me, but instead he put ice in my veins to make the game-winning 3. Also, Kittle gave me the have-to speech on the sidelines. There you go.
Jake Moody, baby. I'm going to hug you. No one else wants to hug Jake Moody. Jake Moody, you need a hug. Here's my hug for Jake Moody. Make your field goals, kid. Prove them right.
MSQ, you're saying Ricky Pearsall being shot is less than tough than Julian Edelman? It's just, it's not the same.
You're not comparing. This is apples to oranges. This is not
the same. This is not the same thing. We're talking about durability within a football game, within a football season. There's 17 games in a season. Do you show up and play all 17? Do you stay healthy throughout the season, year after year after year after year? That's what we're talking about.
Look at it this way. There's a whole lot more guys on the history of this planet who have survived gunshot wounds than have played successfully in football. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay.
Well, no, and we're not, and believe me, I'm not trying to, we're not minimizing anything, and don't put words in my mouth. What I'm saying is what I'm saying, which is that Julian Edelman is one of the all-time tough guy wide receivers to ever play in the NFL, regardless of era. So let's pump the brakes, everybody, on comparing Ricky Pearsall to the toughest guy that ever played. Let's just let it all play out before, and it's also really kind of, it's also like, let's compare him to the white guy. Do we always have to compare the white guy to the white guy?
Well, here's the thing. The single toughest wide receiver I've ever seen play is Anquan Bolden. Like, that guy played with a broken palate on the roof of his mouth. That's got to hurt when you walk to your locker, much less run on a football field. And
remember that hit he took?
Oh, shit.
He took a 3. His helmet is here, and he took 2 helmets here, and he got hit. It was amazing. It was one of the most violent hits.
The roof of his mouth, and he kept playing. Imagine, what bone did you break?
I had a great dialogue with Anquan, man. He was a really good dude. Really good dude. Claudaddy Arcades, one of the sponsors of the Krug Show. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades. Check him out on Instagram. And also, he's got brand new locations opening both in Capitola Mall and Visalia Mall later on this year. He says, morning, fellas. Cut down wide receiver to look at is Courtney Jackson from Denver. Take a look at his 4.3 UDFA tape. Lots to like. I will check him out.
There you go. No wonder why. That, by the way, that is the single perfect sponsor for you, Larry. If he's recommending you watch undrafted free agent film on wide receivers with 4.3 speed, that's you two are meant to be together.
Oh, dude, Claudaddy Arcades came aboard during our spring training trip to Arizona, and he has been a fantastic sponsor. And Claudaddy Arcades is possibly going to underwrite some of our travel this year. So we are big fans of Claudette Arcades, and check out his location. Unfortunately, I don't have my commercial copy read, but you guys go check him out on Instagram at claw_daddy_arcades to see the location near you. And when you stop by, tell him that Larry Krueger sent you. But we're big fans of Claw Daddy. Rakib Jumani says, to state the obvious, Larry, what I can see so far this season that you were pointing out all last season long is the receivers were getting no separation. Boy, how things have changed over an off season. It is true. I mean, the 49ers last year were 32nd in the NFL in separation. A lot of that was Debo getting old. JJ doesn't separate tons. They didn't really have any speed. This year, Cowing, Watkins, Robinson, they've got some more separation. I'm really eager to see because, that's the other thing too. The people that hate Brock Purdy were in a rush to tell you that Brock Purdy is absolutely garbage anytime he's on the field without Christian McCaffrey. He looked pretty good yesterday. There was no Christian McCaffrey. He was throwing it to the Isaiah Hodgins.
He mostly played all of last season without Christian McCaffrey. And the dirty little secret that his critics don't want to tell is that Brock had a really good season last year, even in a bad season. And by the way, Larry, we're officially back. We're getting spammed by goofy, stupid streamers here and NFL HD stream. I banned like 6 spam attempts. So we're back, baby.
Yeah, you do what you got to do over there. I'm on the other side here, hitting the starred chats, trying to get through this before your wife attacks. And here we go. Barry Ford. Bang, bang. Loving Ricky P. Thanks for a great show.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Appreciate you.
Say
Claude Eddie is back. He says Moody will cost us regular season games. The Cam Littles of the world nail 70-yarders. Yeah. While we get nervous sending Moody in for a 35-yard gimme kicks. Yeah. I mean,
that's fair. It's fair.
We're all rooting for him. Let's just say this. It's August, and we're all rooting for Jake. MSQ, why can't Saleh be like Spags and stay with San Francisco forever? Seriously, now this is a great super chat. What the heck does Reed have on Spags? Spags is this awesome defensive coordinator that just refuses to be promoted, where Saleh has 1 good year, 2 good years, and everybody wants him. Gosh, Joseph Ernberg, new member.
Would you like to know the difference? Would you like the correct answer to that question?
Yes.
A definitive correct answer to that question? One man is 65 years old. The other man is younger than both of us, Larry. He's 46 years old. So
but
Robert Saleh has 20.
Rude.
Robert Saleh has 20 years of coaching ahead of him. Spags doesn't have a decade left in football. So that's the difference between the two. One is an older man, happy where he is in a successful situation. The other man still has the wanderlust of a young man looking to run it all one day. So that's your difference right there. 46, 65. It's a big difference. By the way,
Spags needs to get a homegrown offensive guy that he could just be like, it's a team deal. I'll be the head coach and the offensive guy will be the OC and we'll make it all work.
By the way, Joseph Ernberg has become members of both of our channels here, Larry. Mr. Negativity himself is now in at the membership level. Welcome, Joseph. Thank you very much for watching.
We always give a little golf clap to the new members.
He might disagree with half the shit we say, but you know what? At least he does it with memberships and super chats, and he's consistent, if nothing else.
These are non-supers, but they're so damn good I had to throw them in. Larry and Damon, give us the smooth pickup lines you used when you first met your future wives.
Okay, so
I had a real basic one. My wife was a friend of my youngest sister. I have an older sister. I have a younger sister. My wife went to college with my younger sister. I saw my wife in a picture with my sister, and I said, "Oh, who's that?" And she said, "Oh, that's my friend. You would like her." Okay. So I said, "Well, set me up with her." And so she said, okay, but it kind of never really worked out. And then I got the vibe that my sister wasn't too keen with me maybe dating her friends, right? So, which I had done previously. And my mother at the time was like, stop dating your sister's friends. All right. So, so anyway, my wife called my house looking for my sister, and I just happened to be in the kitchen at my parents' house. I was stopping by visiting, and I answered the phone, and she said, "Is Jennifer there?" I said, "No, Jennifer's not there." She said, blah blah blah, and I said, "Hey," and this was kind of gutsy, but it's easier on the phone. I said, "Hey, when are you going to come to the city?" Because she was living in the East Bay in the burbs. I said, "When are you going to come to the city and go out to dinner with me?" That was my opening line. And she said, "Oh, well, I didn't know, you never asked." And I said, "Well, I'm asking."
See, and that really
was it.
That isn't a line. It's a question. Yeah. And that's why you did well.
I mean, that was the line. That was just like, hey, that was basically what led to our first date.
So what happened, the reason why Jillian and I clicked so well so far is because our very first date was right after my father passed away. And I just needed a cocktail. And I'm meeting this girl for a cocktail. And she's like, "So what have you been up to?" And instead of trying to impress her or tell her anything about, my trips to Machu Picchu or anything, like all the douchebag San Francisco Peter Pans that she has dated in her life before meeting me, we're all on that first date trying to impress her with their personality and flourish. I sat down, I drank, and I talked about my dead dad. And I thought it was the single worst first date this chick's ever been on. In the meantime, she ate it all up like a bowl of soup. She's like, "Oh, he's a real person. He's not trying to impress me. He cares about family. He just went through something. He's not afraid to share it. He's not afraid to look vulnerable." What I thought was a terrible first impression was the single best first impression I ever made on any woman in my life. So drop the lines.
Yeah.
Drop the facade. Be yourself.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. There's so many people playing games that just don't play games. And you know what? Sometimes there's so many people playing such deep, intricate games of, "I'll ask for your number, but I don't ever intend to call you. I will call you, but I don't want to go out with you.
Baby.
I will go out with you, but I don't want to date you. I will date you, but I don't want to marry you." There's so many people playing so many different games that sometimes it's not a bad thing if you're not that guy to just be like, "Hey, I don't play a lot of games." Just state it. I don't play a lot of games. Because you know what? That probably is pretty refreshing to somebody who doesn't like games. A couple last ones, and then we're out of here. This one, Label Up, says, "Larry, Damon, we got that one. No, we got this one. Bengals are listening to trades for Trey Hendrickson. Bring him in now." I mean, I get it. He would be fantastic. But the 49ers are at a spot right now where we don't know if they're in a rebuild, because they are in a rebuild with so many young players. They may have 20 rookies. Or if they're in a run it back because they do have 7 or 8 of the best players in football, and they easily could lean on those players and get back to the Super Bowl. So they're kind of, are they a this year team? Are they a next year team? So I understand why Lynch and Shanahan are a little bit like, let's pause on the big acquisitions that are all in on this year, because we're not quite sure if we're all in. But I think their stance, Damon, will change as we approach the trade deadline, because we're going to have games and we're going to see how those CJ Wests and the Collins and the Martins and the Stouts, we're going to see how these guys play and fit in, and if the Niners win games. And if they get to November, like late October when that trade deadline is, I think it's November 1st or whatever, if they get to that point and they're in it, I do think they will take a chunk of their cap and invest it in a acquisition of some kind to fill a need that they have at the time. That's my guess. Hendrickson right now, no, but mid-season acquisition for what you need, if you're in it, yes.
Right. Trey Hendrickson would eliminate the concept of roster flexibility to address something that comes up. You'd get Trey Hendrickson. That's nice. But I don't think you can. I mean, I don't mean to sound like the Raiders in a world that doesn't exist anymore, but I don't think you can be paying 2 defensive ends $30+ million a year. You just can't.
Well, I mean, you probably could if you had Brock Purdy on a rookie deal, but you can't with Brock Purdy on a
right. That world doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean, go talk to Jaden Daniels in the Minnesota Vikings or the Washington Commanders about that, because he's a rookie on a rookie. I mean, he's a second-year player on a rookie contract. They could probably do that. MSQ, one last one. His thoughts on the Folsom Grant High School football game being featured on ESPN and them being 2 NorCal Sacramento Joaquin section teams this Friday. Well, I mean, I those are football powers. Folsom has been a football power for a number of years. I believe Grant has got a real good program. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. I love it. I think it's wonderful. I was just at a place with Kev the other night. We were at Plank in Oakland, and we were playing. We were bowling. We were bowling at Plank in Oakland, and they had up on the screen, the gigantic screens looking over the bowling alley, a football game. And I thought, is that a Canadian football game? Is that a college game?
What am I looking at?
It was high school. It was like a great high school, two great high schools playing. And I'm all for it. You know what? If there's an audience for that, great. Occasionally, when I'm dialing channels around, if I see the Little League World Series on ESPN in August, I'll watch an inning. I'm all for that. And it's very exciting for the kids. And I don't think there's a downside. I know other people, the showboating. I don't think there's a downside. I think it's all good stuff. I like that. Especially if you're going to have a million sports channels. Why not throw a few high school games on? Why not?
Did you see the new high school football stadium that was built somewhere in the state of Georgia? It's like a $68 million complex it's nicer than any Division III school. It's nicer than any MAC school's college campus. I mean, it's unbelievable. When we're done with this, Larry, before you get up and go about your day, just Google $65 million Georgia high school football stadium. The thing looks incredible.
I believe it, man. I believe it. I mean, I have friends who live in Texas, and there's some high school football stadiums in Texas that are bigger than Cal Poly's stadium where Kev just went to college. So, they love their football. There's a lot of money in the Southeast for big time football.
Hold on. I got this right. Look at this, Larry. Look at this thing.
Jesus. That's amazing. That is crazy. Wait, hold on a second. Wait, Bill, can you let me make this bigger? Jesus.
Look
My
at that.
God, that is awesome.
Look at the ample parking that they built around that thing.
That footprint of land in California does not exist. Probably.
I'm not saying nicer than Levi's, but okay.
It's pretty nice.
That's nice.
Look at that press box. It's fat.
It's 2 levels. That's a 2-level press box at a high school football stadium.
Plus, you have 3 gigantic parking lots. 3 of the biggest parking lots I think I've ever seen.
Homecoming is going to be lit.
Nicer than Levi's. There you go. All right, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for us. What do you got cooking the rest of the day? Thanks, by the way. We've got close to 2,200 people watching this. Damon and I appreciate every single one of you guys. We realize that you guys don't all, most of the people. I mean, if you look at the stats across the board, most people that watch YouTube shows, even on the regular, never subscribe. And they just watch regularly. But if you would, we would appreciate it. If you could hit like and subscribe, the more times you hit like, the more people will find this stream in the algorithm. So it kind of helps grow the show. So if you come in and you hit like and subscribe, that's awesome. If you've already subscribed, just hit like. If you have subscribed, make sure you turn on that notification bell. And every time we're going live on a Monday or after a Niner game, wherever you are, you'll get a little ta-ding alert saying, hey.
So this show is in place of Monday's show. We won't be doing a wake up on Monday. Practice is back again. I know you want to get down there. I've got Jack going to his first day of first grade. So that's always a busy morning over, for kids going off to school. Maybe we're back at it on Wednesday. We're going to have to look at the Niners schedule, find out when the day off is for our next wake up. But then, of course, Friday will be before the 49ers play the Chargers on Saturday. So we'll be coming to you certainly Friday and then Sunday again this same time next week as we get wrapped up with the 49ers preseason.
Capricornus tall. What the heck? Capricornus tall. 2,200. It says 619 are watching.
But 2,200 unique viewers have come in. We get a total on our side.
Yeah, you're looking at only the YouTube side. I'm looking at the total number of viewers. So there are people now watching this on Facebook on my side, YouTube on my side, Twitter on my side, YouTube on Damon's side, Twitter on Damon's side. So we have 5 different areas where people are watching this show. The most number of people are watching well, let's see. I guess maybe the most number of people are watching on X right now. But either way, hit like and subscribe. We appreciate every single one of you guys. Thanks for supporting Wake Up. We got this last comment here from Moses. He says, been listening to you guys since the radio days.
Thank you very much, Moses.
Appreciate that. And we've been doing radio for, since the mid 90s, really. And we love what we're doing on YouTube, though. And I hope you guys enjoy it as well. That's going to do it for us for the day. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Hit like and subscribe on your way out. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corners, Sports Cards, and Collectibles, and Claw Daddy Arcades
for
sponsoring as well. Thanks.
Eat at Ike's, drink at the Dubliner, and have a great weekend. Have a great Sunday, everyone.
Peace.